my friends, welcome back to SoulTree Meditation. If you are new here, welcome. You can join me regularly for content regarding meditation, energy, manifestation, and the expansion of your consciousness. So this week I wanted to talk about labels and how dropping them can actually help you to manifest your reality in a faster, much more effective way. So when I refer to labels, I am referring to the labels that you call yourself, the labels that you call your situation, and the story, the narrative that you attach to what you described yourself as and how you describe your situation. Labels can range from anything to how you define yourself physically, to how you define your current life circumstances, or especially to anything that you have actually been diagnosed as having wrong with you. I know there are a lot of people who would probably really disagree with me on this topic, and the reason that I mention diagnosis is because I have seen this come up a lot in my personal practice, as well as experienced it myself in my own personal life. I can't begin to describe how many people I have that come to my studio and tell me that they are diagnosed with depression, anxiety, ADHD, or, a whole myriad of things that they are on medication for. The reason that I am so adamant about dropping a diagnosis or defining yourself by a label that is unhelpful is because unknowingly you are actually manifesting that into your life experience. Personally, for me, I do have a story from my past which correlates to this very specific point. Over 10 years ago, I would say around 2009, I went through a very difficult period in my life, which I can personally attribute to my own awakening, and I was actually diagnosed with having a panic disorder or a generalized anxiety disorder. So the process that I went through included, going to therapy, being on medication and that whole traditional route. But what I found was that I really disagreed with the label. I really didn't like to see myself as having anything wrong with me per se, and I like to sort of view my situation more as something that was temporary. I was being told, you have something wrong with you, here is your given label. And what I started to realize was that my whole life was starting to be wrapped around the diagnosis or the label that I was given. So essentially, I took that label and I kind of ran with it. And that is what I see happening to most of the people that I work with. Your whole entire life experience starts to become defined by a certain label. When I was diagnosed with this many years ago, I, would constantly be scared to go out to crowded places because I didn't want to have a panic attack. If I went to a movie, I would have to sit on the end seat in the row so that I would have a quick exit strategy, okay? And I started to realize after healing and meditation and a period of reflection that I was actually creating my life experience because I was given that label, okay? And when I decided to detach myself from this label, which I obviously did, I noticed that it wasn't that long of a period of time, and actually my anxiety started to dissipate. So even though I did feel like I had a lot of anxiety, I was having a lot of panic and distress, I would replay in my mind affirmations that said, no, I am thriving and healthy, and I refused to attach myself to the label of having anything wrong with me. And what I actually did find was that this was very effective once I stuck to it. So I like to make this video because in terms of manifestation in general, maybe it's not a diagnosis as a label that you are using to define yourself, but it might be, something more common, like I am a wife, I am a husband, I am a teacher or something like that. And if we continue to define ourselves by labels, we actually limit our life experience when it comes to manifestation and change. In order to properly manifest the life of your dreams, you have to be comfortable with going through a lot of change. Most of us want to manifest changes. We want to manifest things that are very out of our realm of current experience. And in order to do that, you have to be comfortable with defining yourself in an entirely different way. So that is why I mention it like this in this video, because most of the time I see that people label themselves in ways that drastically hold them back or create very negative life experiences. Another topic in regards to labels that I like to mention is the current global situation that we find ourselves in. I have to be very careful about the languaging that I use on YouTube about this, but if you think carefully about this situation, we are all programmed with labels, and then we believe those labels, or we act by those labels, and we become part of those labels without even realizing what's happening. So if you think about a specific label in regards to the current situation in our global world, everyone is being affected by this. Roughly 2 years ago, we were given a label saying this certain thing exists and we all need to act accordingly. Before we were given that label, we had no idea of the existence of this thing, or that it existed, or there was no thought of it in our mind, right? So we're given a label and we're saying this thing is, going around the globe and creating a sickness, and we all need to act accordingly, okay? And so some of us may find ourselves in an experience where we say we have gotten this sickness, we have gotten this illness. However, there are a lot of people who do believe that this label is not real. So they have not accepted it as part of their belief system, and therefore they do not create it in their life experience. Okay, this is very important when it comes to manifestation. I know that a lot of people find this kind of content a little bit triggering, and if it's hitting up against your belief systems, take the responsibility of that on for yourself, right? Whatever you're offended by is because you have some sort of judgment with it within yourself, okay? In order to manifest your reality, you have to have the deep understanding that you are not your identity. You are not your labels. You are not your identity. You are not, the names that we call ourselves. Our life experience is very transitory, meaning that we come and go from it. This is a suit of clothes. This is a costume. And if you study hypnotherapy or anything like that, you'd be very comfortable with understanding that concept. So it is the ego, it is the part of us that wants to attach to these labels to define our experience here. There's nothing wrong with that. However, if you look at the labels and you say, is it helpful for me to define myself this way? Is it helpful for me to say, that I'm really bad at something? Is it helpful for me to say that I have such and such disease? And anyone who studies energy or psychology or manifestation or energy work or anything like that is going to tell you that no. If they're authentic, they will tell you no, because you are manifesting that experience over and over again on a loop in your life. So how do you change this? What does that look like? Changing your labels looks like sitting down and reprogramming yourself every single day. So when that thought pattern comes up or that thing comes up, that you can then say, no, I actually don't have this. No, I'm not actually experiencing this, and replace it with something else that you do want to experience. In order to manifest the life of your dreams, you have to begin to change your self-concept. And usually the way that we describe ourselves and our circumstances in the world are very negative and very hindering, okay? And it's hard to believe, but your experience really is that sensitive. The way that you start to define yourself in a different way, you're going to see your external reality reflect back to you that change. So personally, I would suggest affirmations, getting up in the morning and maybe writing 5 affirmations that are positive, that are helpful, affirmations that are put in this current place and time. So this is happening to me now. I am extremely healthy. I am extremely smart. Okay, anything that you can use to define yourself in a good way, and start to read that list every single day. And you're going to be able to slowly start to change your self-concept. When you feel doubts coming up or you feel anything that is surfacing, try to have those affirmations on hand so that you can begin to change them in the present moment, okay? Another way to do this that is very effective is subconscious mind reprogramming. There are many other tools and techniques that can be used to, reprogram the mind and kind of reprogram the definitions that we carry around with us on a regular basis. Some of those can include some conscious mind reprogramming, hypnotherapy, and just looking at your regular self-talk and how you choose to define yourself. I always say that meditation is very important to include in any sort of manifestation practice, and the reason for this is because meditation helps you to become aware, and most importantly, aware of yourself and the way that you're talking and the way that you're describing yourself to yourself. So just as an overall summary, dropping definitions, dropping labels, dropping the need to experience this world by the given rules, by the programmed ways of experience, and allowing yourself to describe yourself in whatever way that you would like, whatever way that you feel would be beneficial to you. And the more that you choose to describe yourself and your surroundings that way, the more that you're going to find that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and the world starts to mold to you and your definitions and your belief systems. So I hope that that was helpful. If you're interested in booking manifestation coaching to dive deeper into your personal experience and how you can change it for the better, please feel free to look into my website for online booking. So thank you so much again, and I will see you in the next video. Much love.